Susie Sausage Head.
So, let me tell y'all about the time Susie Sausagehead and a couple of her friends were out and about one night. It was a brisk and windy fall evening with light showers, and they were in line for a haunted house. Halloween was their favorite holiday, and it was only 3 days away. Therefore, they'd made it a point to visit all of the local attractions hosting Halloween themed events. Susie and her friends had been at it for the last 10 days and were nearing the end of their shared adventures. This evening's haunted house was among the highest rated in the area and was postponed purposefully, allowing for full enjoyment of other attractions without the unfair comparisons. The queue to enter the haunted house was a long one, made longer by the switchback configurations they had to work through. The organizers anticipated as much and provided both television monitors showcasing highlights of the haunted house attractions ahead and live action performers sporting elaborate costumes and props. These elements added to the collective anticipation and excitement the crowd was experiencing and made the wait time seem less tedious. Susie Sausagehead, along with everyone else in attendance, was dressed in Halloween costumes, adding to the overall vibe being set. She, however, was grateful that both her and her friends had the foresight to wear sneakers for the occasion, because as she looked around, she observed that some of the ladies in line did not think that far ahead or didn't care. These women opted for heels matching their costumes, and as a consequence, were fidgeting in obvious pain. Susie Sausagehead took a moment to appreciate all of the staff, performers, and organizers that she and her friends had experienced over the last 10 days. They truly made this Halloween season one to remember in all of the best ways. They were about 3 switchback lanes from the entrance of the haunted house, and from here she clearly heard the screams of those ahead of them in the attraction. As one particularly loud scream rang out, the crowd in line collectively let out a ooh as Susie and her friends exchanged excited glances and chatter. Everything they'd heard about this place had to be correct. They were so right to save this one until the end. It was going to be epic. Before they knew it, Susie Sausagehead and her friends had made it to the entrance of the haunted house and were read the rules by one of the staff. The usual no touching, lights, drinking, eating, running, or setting things on fire, etc. And with a nod of approval, her group, along with a few others, were let in. At first, there was nothing much to see other than some decorations and animatronic robots. Still, even with this considerably light and tame fare, Susie could hear from somewhere behind her that one patron was already beginning to regret entering the attraction. The haunted house's interior was one to behold. All of the props, music, costumes, and performers were above board, and Susie Sausagehead again took a moment to silently give the staff their flowers. As expected, the settings, traps, jump scares, and performers became more intense the further she went into the attraction. Consequently, the fear of the patron behind her also grew. Susie couldn't tell if they were male or female beneath the costume and mask, but she knew that they were definitely afraid. The attraction also had staff stationed at regular intervals throughout to protect both patron and performer alike, as well as enforce the rules and assist anyone needing to get out immediately. These staff members wore dark clothing, but could be seen by the white lettering on their shirts. Susie couldn't help but notice them because they stuck out against the backdrop of the decorations. But she would soon be glad they were so present and serious. Susie Sausagehead and her group arrived at a T-juncture, having to choose to go either right and remain on a lower level of the haunted house, or go left and advance up a flight of stairs to the second floor. Susie and her friends elected to go left, upstairs, and as luck would have it, so did the scared, masked patron and their group. Susie intuited that this would not end well for any of them, and of course, her hunch was spot on. It didn't take long for her prophecy to materialize either. The instant they climbed to the foyer of the second floor, they were met with an elaborate setting resembling a popular horror movie franchise. Susie sped up her walking pace, wanting to see as much as possible before the inevitable happened. She was looking into every room and crevasse, trying to locate the titular movie villain before he could jump scare her. She should have known. Instead, he would go for the visibly afraid one in the bunch. Sure enough, as Susie Sausagehead was staring down into a casket covered in dry ice fog, she heard a shrill scream muffled by a mask, followed by heavy footfalls and grunting. Before she could react, Susie's friends were pushed into her and she fell backwards into the casket and onto a robot skeleton just trying to do its job. As the masked screamer passed them, so did the villain, a clown character who had successfully terrified someone. The screamer didn't see the staff member blocking off their escape, offering an emergency exit route in the darkness, and thus ran into them. At this, the flight part of the screamer's instinct cycle was now complete, and fight had entered the chat. The screamer turned and punched the clown, which caused the performer to break character immediately. The staff member said something into an earpiece, then the lights came on. All the guests were escorted out by staff, and as Susie and her friends walked past the punched clown, they observed him having a smoke and speaking to someone on his personal device using colorful language and promising to never do this kind of work ever again. The end.